Hello, it's Ricardo and welcome back to Building Vincent. Now, as we saw from the last episodes, I've been concentrating on the head and the face, or sort of eye X section of Building Vincent, and with those done now and I'm completely printed out and fitting around the collar and the top of the helmet area, it's time to move on to the next section. The next section, of course, being the shoulders and the chest sort of areas, I'm going to call it with Vincent. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, the upper quadrant of the entire orb-shaped structure that does make up Vincent. So we're going to call that the chest, right? Okay, just for clarity. So as you can see, I mean, it's all nicely smoothed out after coming back from the spray shop. But how did I get here? So here it is in Simplify 3D, a huge ring, misses, over 580 millimeters in diameter, so far bigger than the build plate that I've got on the CR10S4. So it's going to have to be cut down, right? It's going to have to be sliced. So because it's so big, I mean, there would be a hell of a lot of filament wasted depending on what profile you printed on. And also you can see at the top there's that lip I was mentioning when connecting the face directly down to it. So fortunately, the guy who sliced this up and provided the model gave quadrants to this, which I'm going to print out on. Now, these quadrants, there is going to be a little bit of wastage with supports inside of it, but I do believe we're going to get a pretty good print out of it, especially at this angle. Doing it from any other angle, like inverting it, is going to include supports on that nice flat surface. That's going to be very important, because the first thing you're going to look at when you see Vincent is his eyes, white on red, and then you're going to go down to where all the action is, where all the lights and the detailing is. Now, that particular detailing there is not hollowed out. It's going to have to be to get some LEDs in there, or depending how you want to do the model. You might not be electronically inclined and just think, well, hey, I'm just going to paint them different colors and have done with it. You could have a really good effect, I believe, with some different colored fluorescent tape that will absorb the light during daytime and then just light itself and illuminate during the dark. That's one good idea. So there's quite a lot of detailing on here as well. I'm going to be printing this again at 0.3 height. There's no point going any lower than this. There's detail here, yes, but it's not minute detail that's going to warrant anything like a 0.2 or a 0.1 build height, and that would just take absolutely ages to print out. As you can see, as the sections fit together around the upper claw area, there's a little bit of detail there. Now, those could be either drilled out or not. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the larger circles out and I'm gonna replace them with illuminated circular push switches. Now, they're usually used in automotive and for hobbyists, but I think a nice blue light there would give it something a little bit extra as well. It's a little bit of a metallic surface on the particular section. So like I said, with the supports, we are going to waste a little bit of plastic with the supports, but we are going to get the effect, I think, of what we want, a nice clean effect, and they should break away quite easily. And because the supports are going to be on the inside, who cares, really? You know, a little bit of quick sanding and that'll be off, or break them away and just leave it there, as long as the outside surface is basically key. So, moving on then. So there are another further cut down version of this particular model for those of you who've got a smaller build plate, which may be more conducive to printing out with less support and less plastic wasted. Let's save that planet and not waste too much plastic. In the bottom right hand side of the screen, you can see how I'm printing out a larger section there, and that's a lower section. I'd have to build up these top sections. You can see I'm rotating as well in Simplify 3D on top of that, but to build those up wouldn't be too much of a hard task, I believe. So those can also be fitted together and then glued together in one big piece, or individually, depending on how you want and how strong you want it to be. I have found that some of the good super glues or Gorilla Glue will also fit these models with PLA together quite good. I mean, an awful lot of people use different glues and always have their favourites. I've always supported this because I've got an extra set of layers around the model, at least 3 layers, I'm able to screw into that with small screws and metallic brackets you can get from Biology, Home Bargains, Home Depot, or B&Q, that sort of thing, depending on where you are. So any hardware store will have these T-shaped brackets or long connecting brackets to give it that little bit of extra strength. So with some of the smaller parts as well, with the detail around the LED sections that I mentioned have to be cut out or drilled out, dremeled out as it were, it might be worthwhile printing those individually and not part of a bigger section, all depending on how you are and how much you value additional detail. Like I mentioned, I'm printing at 0.3 at 65 millimeters per second, and everything seems to be going fine with that. Some of the upper sections just take about 2 hours to print. It's really not a hardship, and you can leave it on, go and have some tea, come back, and it's like Christmas morning every morning, and you come back to, hopefully, if you've got no disasters on your 3D printer, something nice to look forward to. So let's talk timing then. 18 hours for a big piece, the big parts, the big bottom sections, but the smaller top sections, 2 to 3 hours. All in all, this took a whole 4 days solid to print. Thank heavens for solar panels and sunny weather, and a good supply of filament from Amazon Filament. The filament used here was Sunlu filament, and I'll put a link to that in the description, so that if you're looking for the same sort of filament that I used for this, then you'll be able to find it. Readily available in the UK at least from Amazon, and speedy quick too, especially if you have Prime. They always have certain colours in stock. So all in all, not an arduous thing to print out because of its very dimensions and its shape. I've been quite happy with the results as well. As you can see here, quite clean, minimal cleanup needed, a little bit of light sanding as well, but no gaps in the actual model as it was printed. I got the speed just right as well. And now it's going to be a case of fitting it all together, which a bit of super glue, like I mentioned, and some masking tape, which is easily peelable away, will result in the fact that it can be easily moved out of the way. And when you all put it together and offer it up to the head parts and the face or eye parts, you can see VINCent is really starting to come together, and that's something that I've really been looking forward to. So next time we're going to move on to the middle section of VINCent. So check back for more videos in the series. As you can see, I've done a bit more cleanup there now, and a little bit of filler with wood filler and a bit of car filler as well. It's starting to look really good. So check back if you want to see more. Like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. My name is Ricardo and I'm building VINCent, but feel free to hang around to the end of the video and watch the rest of these little pictures. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.